Hey kids, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. Welcome back. We are doing a supplement video to the Stirling Music Man active bass. That was, well, it was Paul Stanley. Let's get to work. It looks, when I got it, that it had been literally karate chopped onto a hard surface and smashed. And I showed you that in the previous installment. I just wanted to catch you up on where we're at with it. Glued it all together. There was probably two main pieces, but there were a lot of little chip outs and breaks and stuff that I literally had to puzzle back together, and glued it with, I use Ultimate Tight Bond. It is amazing stuff, and it is lifetime. It puts anything together and holds it. Anything would. There was probably 15 steps to get it to this point. So that's why I didn't show any of those steps, because I have to do it in the other shop, and it's dusty and nasty and smelly. And some of the stuff, like the Bondo wood filler that we used here, you can see the green, everywhere, is pretty toxic stuff. It's very caustic, and you have to work in a ventilated area with fans on. Otherwise, you pass out while you're doing your work. I just have a hanger neck on it. It's just a piece of wood that, so I can hang it and let it dry, cure, do whatever. The acid test for this stuff is if it's smooth to the finger, okay, if the fingernail doesn't want to get caught on anything. You can see I have scuffed, repaired the main crack that went from here to here to here. Pieces were missing, chunks were hanging out. It's a solid piece of wood now. And we filled it all in. There was a huge crevice in the back especially, and right in the front right here really bad. So that's what we used, the Bondo wood filler. It's a two-part thing. It took a little doing to figure it out. And you remember in the first video, I overworked it, put too much hardener in it, and I'm going to tell you, within a minute and a half, it was unworkable. I learned through the second process to put less hardener and work with small batches at a time, and don't overwork it. Just stir it a little bit until the blue is gone, and then stop. That's it. And then even then, you've only got about 4 to 5 minutes before it becomes unworkable and starts to harden that fast. But it worked very nicely. I mean, I have little Bondo stuff everywhere, but it took that to get it back to where we are then going to use. And I don't have the stuff here. I'm going to spray can it. I have scuffed the entire body. I'm going to spray can it first with a primer that is a high fill primer. That's any little imperfections that you can't even feel. I'm going to put several coats of that primer, probably 3 coats of it, with a light sanding in between. And really, to prep the surface, all you have to do is scuff it really good and clean it with naphtha. My favorite choice of naphtha is lighter fluid, because it pulls and tacks all the dust off. After you blow it, when you're done sanding, you use a tack cloth and some of that, and it pulls all the dust off. And the next time you see it, it's going to be spray painted white. And I found a color that I think is going to be really, really similar to this, but not perfectly, because I'm spray canning it. I do not have a spray booth. I don't pretend to be a painter or a body man, but I'm showing you this because I bought this guitar for $50 complete. I'm going to have a set of tuners in it and the materials. If I have 100 into it by the time I'm done, 150, plus my time. That's it. It'll be a lot. So I'm going to hang this and get it off of the bench, because I want to do a little bit. That was just to catch up where we are and what we've done with the body. And the body now is a guitar again, or it will be once we get it painted and finished and everything. Let's just get this out of the way for now. So the neck, we have some tuners. They're not bad tuners. I think, Geikers, but I didn't want to put a lot of money into this because, well, it's an Indonesian guitar. I've checked the neck out. It's straight, and I got it in a flat condition because it's going to be off for quite a while. Truss rod works, everything is good. I haven't rocked the frets. If it needs a fret leveling after it's all together, wouldn't surprise me, but being the price point that this guitar is in, I think brand new, this guitar was like $600. So that tells you where we're going. When I get done, it will look like brand new and it will play like brand new. Again, today, because the tuners do not match all of the holes here, we are going to, yup, you guessed it, we're going to fill them all in and prepare it for eventually accepting the new tuners. I'm going to put them in, and I'm going to pause while it cures up. It'll dry hard enough in an hour or so, and I'll be back with you, and we're going to put the tuners on in this video too. So to get started, a little bit of tight bond, and I mean a little because you're only using toothpicks here. Waste not, want not. You're only using toothpicks. And the way I do it is we're just going to fill all these holes in, and I think a toothpick will be perfect for it. You want it to fit snug. Yeah, I know. I can tell you that the holes were not drilled straight into this. Many of them were really cattywampus. Yeah, cattywampus, it's a word. Those of you from the Midwest, I'm sure, have heard it. So I just put it a little glue on the end, dab it into the hole that you're working with. Yeah. And it doesn't take much. Just try to get some in the hole so when you drive the toothpick down in there, it actually pushes some in with it. And then just tap it in. You'll know when it's home. And snip it off. And then, yeah, there's going to be a little nubbin left, and when we're done and it's all dried and everything, I will show you how I fix that. Every once in a while, clean off your tool so the shit doesn't harden on there. And next, so I'm not going to show you all of these because, yeah, there's 100 of them. Just keep dabbing the glue that you already have here. And a little bit of wet paper towel will get the remainder off. You kind of get the picture. Put a little and let it get in the hole. It seems messy and it seems counterintuitive, but this is how you do it. These are bamboo toothpicks. They're not like regular toothpicks. Are a little too soft, I find. So the bamboo ones work really good. They're harder. They're more dense. So whenever I go to the Chinese restaurant and get Chinese food, I get a handful of these because that's what I use. So I'm going to pause there while I put the rest of these in. When we come back, I'm going to show you how we just take a wood chisel and clean them up slightly. Just a little dab on there. And wipe the excess off. That's all it takes. If you get it when it hasn't gotten tacky, it wipes right off. It won't leave a residue on there in any way. So stand by. So off camera, it's been, give or take, an hour and a half, hour and 3/4. Take a really sharp little 1/4 inch. And when I say sharp, Don't use this for anything other than woodworking. A sharp wood chisel. And you just let it grab a little piece of nubbin that's sticking off and tap it and hold it steady. And it will knock off that little nubbin of wood that we stuck in the hole. You follow? And the key is this thing has to be sharp. Sometimes you have to go at it from both angles. And it'll take it off nice and smooth. Now I'm going to show you how to finish it, because every once in a while there might be a little bit still, just a couple of fibers sticking up from the bamboo toothpick. Yep. You'll feel it with your finger if there's anything left. And usually there's just a little nubbin. Like I said, the trick is to have that sharp, sharp, sharp. I got just a few left. Most of these plugs will be covered by the new tuner. I have a punch right here. So just a flat head punch, not a sharp one, not a pointy one. And anywhere you feel it, just put it right on it and get a whack. Now it's flat, flat, flat. And that finishes them up. Just so they're nice and level and there's nothing that's going to hold when we put the tuner on there. Thusly, you know, it won't be anything protruding. And if there isn't anything protruding, then there's no reason to whack it with a hammer. That's how I do it. Okay, so we got a few more to do. Sometimes you got to do it in both directions just to get it off. Do not try to sharpen this unless you know what the hell you're doing. Because usually you'll just ruin the edge. That's it, just get the nubbin off. Like I said, this is going to be covered mostly anyway, but you still want a clean job, right? You still want a clean job right there. Notice I switched hammers. Yeah. like it. That one right there. Nice and smooth. All right. Now, chisel. Sharp wood chisel. Love it. So, I had to order a set of, for a 5-string, and they're Kaish, not the, I thought they were Geikers, but they're Kaish. Not the best, not the worst. Look, there's always worse. You want that to be tapped in there ever so slightly. That's your bushing, and you want it flush on the top of the, the headstock face. Your tuners are going to come in from the back. I had to order a set of for a 5-string because that was the only way I could get one left-handed. One left-handed. It covers all the old. Let me pull up just a bit so I'm not here. So it covers all the old holes, and some of them are going to be really, really close. You want to get as close as you can to the original holes. That way you know you're putting your tuner on there the right way. And I was hoping to leave the plastic on until I was ready, but you kind of need that tuner to be on there, and I like to set them, parallel with the headstock. So that you know the tuner is on there in the right orientation. I think that's where I want to put it, right there. I'm only going to do this one. What do I have? Probably just a pick. So, one last time, make sure you're where you want to be in relation to where, the original one was, because we can do that. If you're working with a bare headstock that's never had anything on it, well, there's a certain amount of eyeball to this. There is a certain amount of eyeball to this. Notice I have it hanging off the end of the bench. Probably my head is right in the way, but yeah, that's not going to work. I want a black marker standby. Okay, I was looking for a specific kind of Sharpie to get it lined up where you want it. Because with the punch, you're kind of, you got to really push on it. But the Sharpie will go through and make the mark. And that's what I wanted. Yeah. So I'm going to drill these and set that one tuner. I'm not going to show them all to you, but you've seen it before. You know what I do. Now, pilot holes. It always seems like you want to go the tiny, but you really gotta, if you make the hole too small and you start driving these little tiny screws in, these things can't bear a lot of torque, so they will tend to want to break off in the hardwood, and you don't want that. So if you think that your drill bit is too small, it probably is. You want just a little bit of thread poking. Yeah, and I'm not going to use the smallest one because these look like they're a little bit bigger. Yep. And you go to drilling your pilot holes. And it's no big deal. Just don't go too far. Just don't go too far. You pop through the other side, that's going to be trouble. That is going to be trouble. Double check everything. Yeah, Yahtzee. And all my bushing fell out. I do not want that. I might have to put a dab of glue on that one. I remember this one was a little bit loose, but I'm toying with the idea of painting this surface to match the body. And I don't care about any of this. I can always put another decal on there, but I wanted to get, for the purposes of today's exercise, one tuner in there. So I don't want to glue it in there just yet. That one may need a dab of help to hold into the hole. Yeah. May need a dab of help. How did I get two screws on there? So that bushing was the only one that was loose, and of course I'm not the one that drilled the holes in the headstock. Yeah, the smallest drill bit would have been too small, and these would have been too tight in there, and likely would have broken one off. And you never want that. That's a problem. I'm only putting two in for now just to illustrate. But there's your tuner installed. And it looks great on there. It's nice. It protrudes at a, parallel to, this side of the headstock. Headstocks are never, linear. This one is sort of on this side, so these are going to be easier to line up and get straight. That's why I did the other side one. Right. So we went over quite a bit today. We talked about the body and where we were at with that. We did repair on this one and filling all the old holes. And by the way, you don't see any of the old holes under the tuner, and you won't on any of those either. That's a perfectly acceptable repair. You have to do that, and do not leave them open and just start trying to, make the screw going sideways to catch the hole. Fill them. And even if they're not even close to where the old holes were, you don't want those holes in there because the wood will flex over time. You don't realize how much string tension there is, and it could pull that tuner into a cavity that's right next to where the screw hole is. That's why you want to put good hardwood fillers like the bamboo that we use. Thanks for hanging in there today, guys. It's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. This bass is going to play one day, and it was a disaster when we got it, but it's making progress and moving forward. We'll talk soon. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe, and by all means, share.